Shalom, family. Grace, mercy, and peace be unto you. From YAHUAH, our Father, and Yahusha. He is the Messiah, the one that carries the burden of Yah, his voice, our high priest, soon coming King. Hear, O Yeshua, YAHUAH, who is our mighty one. He is one. There is no other mighty one in existence than YAHUAH, and Yahusha is his voice. This is Brother Daoud bringing you the demonic alliance, Constantine and Hillel. This is history. When I was just finishing seminary, Bible school, I went to the Archbishop. I asked him if I could pursue a PhD. He told me no. He said, instead, study history. And here I am, for all of these years. All of the lessons that I have taught you are all rooted in history, like this. The beginning of the so-called church, Constantine the Great was at war. He was in the battle. He prayed to his God. His God's name was Christ. And he asked him, would he win the battle? And if he was going to win the battle, to give him a sign. There appeared in the heavens, they say, the cross. And when he saw the cross, and remember what the cross is a symbol of, death, he went to destroy his enemies. Now, you can see all of the symbolism, all in this painting. What I want you to look at is what is on the staff in the middle of the picture. Do you see the eagle there? His name is Isus. You know, like Jesus. Now, these are the Romans. When you look on top of the American flag, you will see Isus again. We have not escaped the Roman rule. Let's begin. The beginning of the Judeo-Christian society. Hillel II held the office of Nasi, overseer, in the Sanhedrin in the 4th century A.D., at the height of the Roman Empire. The religious environment at the time was embroiled in a controversy over how to reconcile the observance of the biblical Pesach on Abayab 14, which when calculated using the biblical calendar, can I stop for a moment? The biblical calendar? It's telling you right here, there's only one calendar in the Bible. The moon could fall on any day of the week of the pagan Julian calendar. The calendar that we have today, Pope Gregory's, is the Reformed Julian calendar. We can see through our brother YAHUAH's calendar how he overlays the moon on the top of Pope Gregory's calendar. We can see that every month it'll be in a different day of the week. With the observance of Easter, which the Western Roman bishops wanted to fall strictly on Sunday as a Roman Catholic festival. You got it so far? It became a struggle between the solemnity of the Exodus and the later sacrifice of Yahushua HaMashiach versus the celebration of the resurrection of Christ, which happened to coincide with the dates for pagan celebrations. So you see, Christ has nothing to do with our book. It's strictly pagan. This is Constantine the Great's God, the sun god, Christos Helios. So look what they're trying to do. They're trying to bring their Christ into Pesach or Passover. And we know that our celebration for Pesach is connected to the Exodus. So they're trying to reconcile or bring all of these parties back together again. How can you do that? Christ has nothing to do with this whole equation. They want to bring their Easter dates in. So they have to connect all of this together. How will they do that? Constantine I, aka Constantine, the so-called great, he was a devout paganist, and that is a fact. He decreed that Dies Solis, Sunday, would become the first day of the week, establishing it as the most important day, and initiated the Sunday law, which forbade people to desecrate Sunday. He also decreed that the Hebrew, biblical calendar, the moon, should no longer be used to calculate those dates. He accomplished 3 things by doing this. 1, he standardized the planetary 7-day week. He made Dies Solis, which is Sunday, the first day of the week, which automatically made Dies Saturni, Saturday, the 7th day of the week. 2, he exalted Easter and detracted from Pesach by ensuring that the two would never occur on the same day. 3, he exalted Dies Solis, Sunday, as the day of worship for everyone. This began the problem that they had to rectify. In other words, Constantine changed the times from Yahuwah's calendar to a counterfeit calendar. He detracted from the moon, which Yahuwah declared to be for a sign and for the appointed times of Yahuwah, and exalted the sun, which Yahuwah appointed for seasons, to govern the things of man. Okay, so now you're seeing the catalyst for everything that people believe in today. After his death, his son, Constantinus, decreed that the biblical calendar, the moon, could not be used at all. Not even for the Jews. And their persecution increased greatly. Christians were not to be found Judaizing the 7th day. In other words, you weren't supposed to keep the 7th day Shabbat. This caused a problem for them, right? When you take something away from the people, even though it's a lie, don't they want it even more? But should work on Saturday. Anyone who was non-compliant was excommunicated. Because of Constantine, Christians think Sunday has always been the Shabbat. Isn't that true? You can't tell our elders who are still in the church that it's not. And Yeshua thinks that Saturday has always been the Shabbat. Isn't that true? It's hard to tell our Israelite brothers that it's not. I used to watch a brother, Tribe of Judah, teach. And he said something that the Shabbat of Pope Gregory's calendar comes all the way down from creation. Mainly because that's when the Gregorian calendar says the seventh day is. So the Gregorian calendar, which has a quotation of the seventh day, just like you find in Genesis, the brother says that the same seventh day on Pope Gregory's calendar is the same seventh day in Genesis. How foolish was that statement? That's when the Jews observe Shabbat. The Jews observe Shabbat on Saturday. If they observed Shabbat on Saturday, that should tell us something. However, the Gregorian calendar, a reformed Julian calendar, is a pagan, counterfeit calendar. And more importantly, the Jews are duplicitous in the deception. Duplicitous? Definition: marked by deliberate deceptiveness, especially by pretending one set of feelings and acting under the influence of another. We know this to be true now, don't we? We're watching them, aren't we? They are liars. They are deceivers. If you follow them, you are following the children of God. Enter Hillel II. Let's see if he can reconcile or bring all of these parties together. Prior to 70 AD, the high priest followed YAHUAH's biblical calendar before we left. After 70 AD, after we were gone, it was the head of Nasi, the overseer of the Sanhedrin, a rabbinical Supreme Court, who determined the calendar. Can I stop for a moment? I went to one of the rabbis, a few of them, those who believe in Judaism, and I asked, how do you determine the days of Passover? And they told me it can only be determined by the Nasi or the Sanhedrin, the Rabbinical Supreme Court in Jerusalem. And I asked, how can that be? How does the people, how would they know when to start their feast? They won't. You have to wait for the rabbi to tell you when. Okay, look what else. The Rabbinical Supreme Court, who determined the calendar, also determined the length of the year. They'll tell you how long it's going to be. Don't believe what you see in the sky or believe your count. Only believe what we say. If a leap year is to be added, the appearance of the false new moon, that's the dark moon, astronomical calculations and conjunctions. If a 13th month was to be added, etc. We've been looking for that 13th month for all of these years. We've looked for it in Scripture. We did not find it. But look, we have discovered the origin. That person was Hillel II, who was the overseer between 320 and 385 CE in the 4th century. In 359 CE, Hillel II modified YAHUAH's biblical calendar. What do you mean? That's impossible, isn't it? Can he go up into the heavens and modify the orbs that are in the sky? Can he change their rotations? No. So how did he modify it? On paper. To make it easier for the Jews to assimilate into the Roman Christian culture. The Romans prohibited the Sanhedrin from doing their job. So Hillel II fixed all future calendars by incorporating leap years permanently using a 19-year Metonic cycle. Now, I've explained over the years to many people that the Metonic cycle has nothing to do with our book. But they're so fixed on following the Gentiles that when you speak to them, it's like they lose their mind. Hillel II did 3 things. Let's see what they are. He transferred the observance of the biblical Shabbats from the 8th, 15th, 22nd, and 29 days of YAHUAH's lunar-based calendar, which is in the sky, to every 7th day of the Julian calendar. In other words, Hillel II changed the Shabbats to every Saturday. Okay, Constantine changed the Christian Shabbat to Sunday, which made it the first day of the week, and by default, Saturday became the 7th day of the week. They could not look to the moon anymore, so they had to adjust themselves to Constantine's calendar. 2. This led to him establishing the rules of postponement. Rules of postponement? They can do anything. Just so that they can fix the calendar, so that they can line up and fit in with their pagan days, the pagan days of the Roman Catholic Church. Yeah. All of this is going on behind the scenes, which weren't needed prior to him fixing the calendar. Why wasn't it needed? Because YAHUAH's calendar is perfect. How is it perfect? The whole world can read YAHUAH's calendar. You don't need the Romans. You don't need me. All you have to do is become literate in how they function, and you can read them for yourself. Now, I want you to research this on your own. 3. He secured the survival of Judaism. Judaism? Okay, this has nothing to do with Torah or the prophets or any of the books that we use. This is all about Judaism. Remember, we were gone already. We were already in the wilderness. However, he fixed the Shabbat to every Saturday. And this doctrine is for all time, even till now. Now, because Hillel II, and please do not forget Constantine I, the Hebrews, or Abaya, Yesharoyam, cling to that doctrine as if their lives depended on it. They're in a strong delusion. Anyone can check this out. It is not hidden. All you have to do is seek it out. But people don't seek things out. They just watch videos from the unlearned and the unstable. Okay, so you watch the videos from the unlearned and unstable. What do you do after? Are you a Berean? Do you go check on everything that they said to see if it's true? The answer is no. Or else you would not have such a mass deception. For some, you'll have to pry it from their cold, dead fingers. How many have you spoken to? And their faces looked as though they wanted to rip you to pieces. But it is a deception, Yesharo. A deception brought about by the father of lies. What is his name? It's God. God Ra'el. What was his first act? To deceive Eve. And his emissaries, the Roman Catholic Church, and the imposters, the Jews. We can see how this all played out now, can't we? Saturday, Sunday, Easter, Passover. They were trying to join all of these days together. They put a word in, reconcile. Easter has nothing to do with the book. Saturday, Sunday, nothing to do with the book. So how do you bring that together with Passover? The pagans are in control of the whole world, and they forced people to comply. For us, it was different. They brought us over here as slaves. They beat all of the knowledge out of us, and we adopted all of their customs. But in the last days, knowledge is greatly increased. Everything that was hidden is now being revealed. And we have returned to pure worship, pure Shabbats, pure feast days, without the influence of the Gentiles. The thing that our people do not know is that in 2019, Yah stretched forth his hand to deliver us. Did you think that he forgot us? After 400 years had passed, that he did nothing? No, after we were free from the bondage in our mind, he stretched forth his arm to show us his time in 2019. It's called the Path of Years. Isn't it amazing that you can see it come around every 32 or 32 and a half years? The moon and the sun will line up again. The moon will have 354 days, and the sun will have 354 days. As the year progresses, the Alayam add 4 intercalary days, and by the end of the year there will be a 6-day overplus. 6 plus 4 equals 10. Then the next year you will see that the moon has moved away from the sun in the amount of 10 days. That happened in 2019. Yet no one knew. Do you know why? They were all following the Gentiles. No one was looking up. But we were. And the Father chose us to lead the way. Join the team to spread this news. There's no one to do it but us. Shalom.